Hey everybody, welcome to Hump Day Hangouts. This is episode number 508. As Bradley pointed out, Bradley, did you say we're 12 weeks away?
12 weeks away from 10-year anniversary.
Yep, that is awesome. But we're not there yet. In the meantime, we'll keep answering your questions and keep going. Not that we're going to call it quits at 10 years, but we got some more stuff to do, some more announcements, and we'll get into it here in just a minute. Wanted to say hello to the guys. And then, like I said, a couple of quick announcements, and then we'll get into it. So, Chris, how you doing today?
Doing good. Hot here, lots of busy work here as usual, and yeah, busy.
Cool. Well, I'm glad I'm not there if it's hot. It was fun. Got to see Chris last week in person outside, or I guess in Vienna. So that was nice. I'll have to share maybe some of the pictures sometime.
All right, sounds fun.
Bradley, how you doing?
Good, man. Busy as all hell. I don't know what happened, but I had a flood of audit orders come
Hmm.
in. And I've got like 14 audits pending.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. And, I know I appreciate people that purchase audits because it gives me a way to be able to convey how to add or apply what I've been teaching to that specific project. So I like it for that reason. Because it's hard. I teach the concepts all the time, but people have a hard time applying those methods or concepts to their specific campaigns. And so this is a great way for me to be able to do that. And I like that and I appreciate that. However, it's very time consuming and my audits continue to evolve to add more and more detail. And so I probably need to raise the price just because the demand is going up and it's simple supply and demand. So simple economics, but like for whatever reason, in the last week, I had 14 orders come in, and I put the time to completion time, turnaround time to 10 days. Well, it takes me every bit of 3 hours to do an audit. So if you think 14 hours or 14 audits at three hours per audit, and they're all due in 10 days, like I don't have time to work on anything else. And so I'm probably gonna have to raise the price a little bit, maybe extend the delivery time out a little bit in order to keep up with the demand. But I do, like I said, I do think they're great because it gives me the chance to be able to convey how to apply these strategies and stuff to individual campaigns. And for that, I think it's valuable. So
Yeah,
You
better
just
raise it immediately.
yeah. It's like
yeah,
just invent some more time. That's it. That's all you need to
yeah,
do. Yeah.
yeah. Well, if there's a way I could automate some of it, and I thought about that, about like creating for each of the 19 points, I can create a universal video explaining the concept of that point. And then that way the audits, instead of me constantly reiterating the same thing over and over and over again for every audit review video, I could just go in and talk about the specific point. Like anyway, so I just needed I need if I didn't have 14 audits on my plate, I might be able to develop that. So
Yeah,
it's one of those,
don't order any more audits for Bradley.
it's like a
Like,
chicken or the egg
yeah.
thing, you know?
Yep.
Anyway.
Well, as far as announcements, I wanted to say, or not quickly, I guess we wanted to let everyone know, we opened up I guess the early registration list for Directory Hybrid Agency for the phase one. We're gonna have to come up with some sort of naming system for this, like for phase one, generation two or something. But anyways, make a long story short, the DHA training is open back up. Training is going to start on the 27th of August. Your last chance to get in and schedule your onboarding call is the 16th of August. And as always, Bradley, I just ask you to give people a little elevator pitch on what this is, because I know we have people watching each week who don't know or haven't heard. So do you mind sharing with people just what phase one is meant to do, or I guess what is phase one and what do they walk away with at the end of phase one?
Well, this is kind of I'm going to ask you and Chris for your opinion right now before you see it. I see you're on the
Yeah,
dock right now, Adam. Is that something we can share or should we hold off and just do that during like
I'm
onboarding
good. I'm
call?
planning on sharing it on
Well, let's just
emails and
share it.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Let's just share it, post it in the group or
Cool.
the chat. And I'm happy with that because that right now that'll actually save me some time, but there's a Google Doc. In fact, we can grab the screen and just very quickly show it. But somebody was asking in chat about what the cost is and all that anyway. So let me just grab the screen briefly. I'll come back and unshare the screen in just a minute. I just want to review this briefly and then we'll get back to finishing our announcements. But the Directory Hybrid Agency phase one is a 3-month program, guys. It's 12 weeks. We did the first, there was an alpha group that we worked together for many months, for almost a year or for a long, long time, that helped me develop a lot of stuff. And then we had the first phase one group, which just completed about 2 weeks ago. And through that 12-week process, it really helped me to refine this a lot. It helped me to add a lot more detail to the SOPs. The members helped me identify gaps or things that were unclear. So I was able to add clarity, more detail, etc. Also, I found that we need a catch-up week every 4th week, we need a catch-up and support week where that week is dedicated specifically to just getting caught up, because inevitably people fall behind because it is an aggressive schedule, and that's fine. So the new version, the next cycle that's going to go through is going to be it's more polished, it's more refined, it's better sequencing, all that kind of stuff. So so the doc is all the details, guys. There's a YouTube video there where I did a group call initially with the first phase 1 group, where I just described what it was about, what kind of the objectives were and everything else. But here's essentially the schedule, the exact schedule that we're going to be on for the next 12 weeks for anybody that joins. And at the bottom is the pricing and the resources and stuff that comes into it, comes with the program. So I don't want to try to force people to jump on a call to learn this stuff. I just want to be transparent right up front, and this is what it is. So if it's something you're interested in, if you feel like you would benefit from it, which pretty much any local SEO out there would benefit from this, in my opinion, especially if you struggle to get clients and you don't have consistency in your business, etc. This right here, this DHA program, is specifically to help you address that and to start generating consistent leads for your own agency, because that changes everything. You don't have to work with the pain in the ass clients because you've got other leads in your hopper, in the pipeline. You don't have to work on the most difficult projects. You can cherry pick the ones that are going to be easier so that you can generate revenue and results quickly without having to worry about always being in danger of losing the client because you chose the most competitive projects. If you have clients that end up being a pain in the ass, you can let them go because you don't need them, which I know so many people in the local SEO space that deal with pain in the ass clients because they need the revenue. Well, stop that, right? Fill your pipeline full of other leads, and then you can pick and choose the ones that you want to work with instead of always working with only those that will talk to you. You know what I mean? And so and then we're still developing phase 2. We were going to try to launch phase 2 for the graduates of the first phase 1 group. We were going to try to launch those concurrently, but I think we're going to hold off on launching phase 2 yet because I'm still developing the process for that, which is basically phase 2 is the marketing and sales and fulfillment side of things, which is only a 6-week program, phase 2. I'm not quite ready to launch that yet. So we're going to start phase 1 again for the next round, the next group of participants. Then I'm hoping that at the end of that one or sometime during that one, I'll start the phase 2. I've got 6 weeks, essentially. If you think about it, it's a 12-week program for phase 1. Phase 2 is only 6 weeks. So I really have 6 weeks from the start of the second group of phase 1 to actually complete and prepare and launch phase 2, if that makes sense. So anyway, that's kind of some inside baseball stuff. But like I said, guys, just full transparency, just go review this, watch the video. I recorded that as kind of a group meeting with the candidates or applicants from the first round of the first group. And pretty much nothing has changed other than the price has gone up just a little bit. And that's because, again, we've polished everything up. We've added a lot. I was very clear about the first group was going to get the best pricing. So this is now the second group. The pricing is a little bit higher, but again, it's a much more polished and refined process. And guys, you get daily coaching with me. Every single day, you get an hour of my time where I will be available on a Zoom meeting to answer questions you have, to provide specific support for whatever you need as it relates to this program. So like you get daily daily office hours with me, a weekly a group accountability meeting, and then 3 private one-on-one accountability meetings with me to where, we can address things that you didn't want to share in the larger group, if that makes sense. So I'm really proud of this, guys. I put, 4 years into building this out, and this is the first part of it, which I think it has the most technical part. This is where all the setup goes, is in the first phase. But once this is done, then it's really about marketing or sales, fulfillment, and in scaling. So that's phase 2 and phase 3. Phase 2 is sales and fulfillment. And then phase 3 is scaling, automation, delegation, etc., building the team, the organizational structure, so that you can remove yourself from the day-to-day operations and still have a business that is operating smoothly and generating revenue for you and your family. hopefully that's clear. So, guys, I put so much effort into this over the last several years, and I'm really proud of it. This is like our flagship product now in service. I mean, our mastermind is always our top level, but this is really what we're going to be pushing, and is trying to help you guys as local SEOs, professionals, consultants, agencies, etc., get better results with less work. That's the whole goal. All right. Hopefully that was good. How'd I do?
A plus. Well
Okay,
done.
perfect.
Awesome.
Thank
No,
you.
I mean, it's good, right? We got to, I know a lot of times sounds like we're repeating ourselves. I know we have people who join us every week. But also I know we get people coming every week who haven't heard or don't know and don't want people to miss out if this is something where, you know, you're looking to get this prospecting pipeline put in place and take away one of those major pain points. So
Yeah.
appreciate it, Bradley.
Yeah, man.
Cool, guys. Well, other than that, just wanted to say, what did I want to say? Did I already post the link in there? Yep, the
Yes.
link is there, both of them, with the Google Doc Bradley was sharing, as well as filling out the early notification survey. So put your name in there. There's no obligation with that. There's nothing.
Yeah.
But if you're interested, you've read the doc, you want to do this, you're thinking about it, put your name in on the survey, and then Bradley will be in touch with you down the road to schedule an onboarding call. And with the onboarding calls too for this, we do charge. We don't want Bradley to hop on calls with people who aren't going to show or really aren't interested. But if you join the call, talk to Bradley, it's not a good fit, then, you know, that's fine. We'll refund the fee for the call. If you decide, yeah, I'm on board, great. We just apply that towards the cost of the training.
That's right.
So really just want to cut down on, you know, BS calls or tire kickers at that point. If you're interested, great, schedule it. Let's go. If not, and you know, or it doesn't work out, that's okay.
Also, keep in mind at the bottom of that doc that explains all the schedule and everything else, there is the actual the deposit. Goes to a Samcart page where you just pay $100 for the deposit. If you know for sure that you want to jump onto a call with me to discuss, to make sure it's it's viable. By the way, the call is not so I can do any hard closing or anything, guys. Look,
Yeah.
I don't do hard closing. This is it. This is what it is. This is the schedule. This is what I promise. That's it. Whether you want to come join or not, that's up to you. I'm not doing any hard closing tactics. I don't, I hope that you join, but I'm not going to push you to join. The conversation is so that I make sure that you have the bandwidth, you have the time, the resources, all of that, the commitment that you're going to commit. I had 14 people join the last group, and 3 of them dropped out, even though they made well, they didn't drop out, but they just went MIA, missing in action, didn't show up to the accountability meetings and things like that. And that's going to happen. That's always going to happen. But I'm trying to prevent that by jumping on a call and getting a personal commitment. I've said this before, but it's easy to disappoint ourselves. But it's, like, you can make a commitment to yourself, and it's easy to break that commitment when the only person that you're accountable to is yourself. But when you're accountable to others, it makes it harder or less likely that you're going to break that commitment. And so that is just basically so we can jump on, make sure it's a good fit for you as well as for me. Because if I'm going to be coaching you on a daily basis, I want to make sure it's a good fit. And if it's not, then no harm, no foul. But if you do commit, then I expect for you to try to complete the project or complete the program. So anyway, that's the whole point. It's not that I'm going to do any kind of hard closing or anything else, but if you determine that you want to jump on that call because you're definitely interested, and you want to join the program, then just make the $100 deposit. We'll jump on a call. If it's a good fit, we'll deduct that from your purchase price, the tuition or whatever. If it's not a good fit, then we'll refund your $100. If you don't show up to the scheduled call, you lose your $100 for not showing up. That is a pet peeve of mine. When you make an appointment, show up. Okay. So that's all there is to it, guys. No hard selling, none of that. It's just a conversation, see if it's a good fit.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll just repeat it. Last day to submit for the call is the 16th of August, and then training will start on the 27th. So with that said, guys, I guess that's it. Let's jump into questions.
Perfect. Thank you, Adam. And just so you guys know, there's no formal training today. I've done that for the last 2 weeks in a row. So we've got some backed up questions from last week that we're going to answer. One of them being a land flipping question from Roy. So I'm going to start with that one, just so you guys know. I'll probably spend a few minutes talking about that one question. So if that's not relevant to you, just come back in 10 minutes. Or if you're watching the replay, skip to the next chapter, the next question. But I am going to answer that one first. But we do have a number of questions that were posted from last week that I didn't get to, so we're going to jump into those first. And then if we have any additional time, we'll take comments and all that stuff. All right. So let me grab the screen and we'll get into it. If I can get this damn thing out of the way. Okay. So the first one was from Roy. This was a land flipping question he asked last week, and I was unable to get to it. And then Roy even posted a follow-up question this week where he said, hey, I asked about this last week. Hopefully you have time to get to it today. So Roy, just for you, buddy, I'm going to answer it first. That way I don't miss it. All right. So again, guys, if this is not relevant to you, just come back in 10 minutes. Hi, Bradley. I have a land flipping related question. So we got a purchase agreement signed for an infill lot in New Jersey near the Jersey Shore, and we went ahead and ordered the title search and due diligence search from Parcel Review for the land. The title search and due diligence search came back a week ago, but I don't really know how to make sense of the report. The summary of the title search is: title is clear, no open liens or encumbrances found on property and owners. All property taxes are paid, which looks good. On the other hand, there's a lot of information on the due diligence report, but I don't know what specifically I should be looking for in the due diligence report, especially as it pertains to whether or not this infill lot has any red flag that can potentially stop us from making this deal. When we do a title search and due diligence search for a piece of land, what should we be looking for exactly? And for example, what are the things that we need to look out for that can make or break the deal? Okay, so just so you know, Roy, like I never learned about like how to read the title searches and all that because it wasn't something that I feel like I needed to clutter my brain with. That's what closing companies and title attorneys or closing attorneys are for, depending on which state it is. Some states require a closing attorney. Other states can just have settlement offices or, settlement agents. Some states are kind of a hybrid where a settlement agent can do the closing, but an attorney has to sign off on the documents. In the state of Virginia, that's the way that it is. So I never cared to learn how to read title searches. All I would do is first of all, I only ordered title searches from the closing company that I was going to send the deal to when I locked up, when I was ready to close, because then I would use their title search, and sometimes they would subcontract that out, but that would be up to them. I would pay the titles company, the closing agent, to perform the title search, and if they subbed it out, that's up to them. But then when they got the title search back from their title agent, sometimes they had an in-house agent, sometimes they would subcontract that out. In any case, whenever they got the title search back from whoever did it for them, because I requested it from the settlement company, then they would review it and they would tell me whether or not there was any problems, title defects, anything that could cause a delay in closing or make the title non-transferable, etc. So again, I didn't feel like I had the need to learn how to read title searches, so I can't help you with that. And I'm not, not trying to push you off, Ray. I'm just saying, like, you should be focused on trying to find more deals, not learn how to read title searches, unless you're just curious. And that, it's definitely worth knowing how to do. But I never felt like it was important because I just always ordered the title search through the settlement company. And then when they got it back, I would ask them, okay, is it good? Can we close? Like, is anything I should be worried about? And they would read it and they would tell me like if there was any problems that needed to be addressed. That's it. And so I can't help you on reading those because I just didn't do it. But that's why I think you would ask questions before about how to find a settlement agent. And so I think I mentioned if it wasn't you, then it was somebody else that asked a similar question. But in any case, I mentioned just, go to Google, search for settlement companies in whatever state that you're doing a lot of deals in or that you plan to do a lot of deals in. Look at reviews and then just start calling settlement agents or closing companies, attorneys. Again, depending on what your state, it's going to determine which type of company or who you contact essentially. But start calling them and asking them. Tell them what type of deals you're going to be doing. Make sure that they're comfortable doing those kind of deals and that they're capable, because again, you'll find settlement companies that say, well, you can't do that. Bullshit. Yes, you can. And so you got to find those that are willing and able to work with you with the types of deals that you will be bringing to them. And then ask them, do you have a title search? And all settlement companies, as far as I'm aware, do. You just ask them, okay, can I order title searches from you through you? And just standard operating procedure, just so you know, every time I got a deal locked up under contract, as the buyer, the first thing I would do was order a title search. Like as soon as the ink dried, and we would always do electronic, document signs stuff. I use docsketch.com for that. Or it used to be DocSketch. I think they changed the name actually to something else. But anyways, as soon as the purchase and sale agreement with me being the buyer was signed by my seller or by the seller, I would send that directly to the settlement company and request a title search. Hopefully that's clear. And then, usually within 7 days or so, it would be returned. The title search would be back. And then I would just ask my settlement agent, whoever my point of contact was at the company, at the closing office. I would ask him, hey, is there anything I need to be concerned about? Are we free and cleared, or are we good to close? And then they would tell me if there was anything that needed to be addressed. And that's it. That's all. It's that simple. Like I don't know how to read the title search reports, and I never really cared to. And it's really not something that I think is necessary for you either, unless you're just curious, in which case, again, find your settlement company that you're going to work with and then ask them, send it over to them, which, by the way, you got to be careful with that, because sometimes title searches from other providers, if you go to a settlement company, sometimes they require that they use their own settlement agent or subcontractor, or excuse me, their title search agent or subcontractor to do that. Or like, in other words, sometimes they won't honor a title search or title report from another company. And so just that's why I said, I think the first step is find your settlement agent that you're going to work with, then use their services, whatever they recommend, so that you know that it's all congruent. You won't have any problems with any of the paperwork or anything else. So, but just for now, because you already have a title search done for this, even though it might have been from, some outside resource, Parcel Review, excuse me, I would contact them and ask whoever you plan on using for settlement, ask them to review it and say, look, is there, can you review this and tell me if there's anything wrong with this? They're going to be honest with you, especially if they think that you're going to bring repeat business to them, right? It's in their best interest to take care of you. So, and then if they say that that's not relevant, like they can't use that, then you could always order one from them if needed. I mean, I don't remember what I paid for title searches, but it wasn't that much, like $100 or a couple $100, something like that. So hopefully that's clear. Hopefully I answered your question. Okay. All right, so that only took a couple minutes. Let's move into some SEO related questions. And by the way, Roy, I appreciate the questions. I do. I've always really enjoyed the land flipping business. I wish I still had the time to do it. I loved that business, actually. But I don't. I've got 4 SEO related businesses, and I don't have any more time to spend on anything else, which is why I don't have much of a life outside of my business. Anyway, Matthew says, should NAP citations for a single location business have homepage address or the location landing page address for better maps rankings? Citations should link to the location landing page, because it is a citation, which is a business direct. Well, no, that's a traditional citation is a business directory listing. A citation is a published mention of the name, address, phone number, and sometimes website. So NAPW. Name, address, phone number, and sometimes website. A published mention of those elements is a citation, whether it's a business directory listing or just name, address, phone number, website published in the middle of a blog post or in a YouTube video description. Those are all citations. It's just there are traditional citations, which are typically business directory listings, and non-traditional citations. And the point is that you are referencing the specific location, the elements of the specific location, the name, address, phone number, and website. So if the location landing page, if it has a dedicated location landing page, then that is the website URL that you should reference in the citation. Not another page, not the home page, the location landing page. Whatever the name, address, phone number, and website information are that are referenced in the GBP, that's what you should reference in the citation so that it's consistent, right? You want NAPW consistency. By the way, Google is a hell of a lot more forgiving now than it used to be about things like punctuation. Things like, for example, years ago, it used to be that if, you had, let's say 123 Main Street was the address of the company, and somebody put 123, but like, if you looked it up in Google, it was like the address, not the GBP, but the address was 123 Main ST, but somebody referenced or spelled street out as STREET, then that used to actually be a potential NAP issue. It could cause problems for Google business profiles, because Google was a lot dumber back then, right? It used to be where punctuation, the way you spelled things, everything made a difference. Now Google is a hell of a lot more forgiving with that. So whether it's ST or street spelled out, it doesn't matter. Whether you have number or suite instead of or the pound sign instead of, or suite or something like that, if it's a mailbox number or whatever, that doesn't really matter. all of that, Google is a lot better at understanding now because of things like AI. So, but you want consistency in the brand name, especially the physical address, again, using as long as it's the same address, just the formatting could be different, and it's still okay because it's the same address. The phone number should be consistent. You can have multiple numbers, by the way, but so you can have a public number that's displayed in the Google Business Profile as like a tracking number or forwarding number. But then you could have the primary, like if you take on a client that has a main number, but you want to add a tracking number so that you can monitor the calls that are being generated through web assets, et cetera, then it's perfectly okay to do that because when you go into the Google Business Profile Manager, you go into, business details. And when you get to the phone number section, you just click additional phone number to add another field. And then you move the original phone number to the additional phone number field and put the tracking number in the primary field. Click save. And now the new phone number will be displayed. But Google has on the back end the original phone number. It's still integrated into the GBP. So Google's fully aware of it. And so that does not cause NAP discrepancies. In other words, if there's existing citations on the web with the original phone number, and then you take on a project that you now add a tracking number to it, as long as the original phone number is still part of the GBP, then you can start building new citations on directories that don't already have a listing for it with the new phone number. And it does, even though the Bright Local reports and citation tracker reports will show that that's a discrepancy, it's not really a discrepancy because Google's aware of both phone numbers. So that's why I say Google's a hell of a lot more forgiving than it used to be. But the brand name should be consistent. And I'm going to take a moment to mention that only because we have a newer mastermind member. I'm not going to mention him by name. And if he happens to watch this Hump Day Hangout replay, or if he's live now, he's one of the guys I told you at the top of our webinar today, or the Hump Day Hangout today. I talked about how I got 14 audits in queue. Well, 2 of them are from one of our new mastermind members. And I did one yesterday and just finished the other one today. I haven't delivered that one yet. But in both instances, there are 2 or 3 versions of the brand name being appended or associated in the SEO titles of pages. And guys, don't do that. Be consistent with the brand name. Now, if the brand has Inc. or LLC, and sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not, that's not a big deal. That's very forgiving. But don't use different versions of the brand name. Don't do that, guys. Like, be consistent with the brand. I don't understand, and I'm not picking on him. And I tried to say that multiple times through the audit video that I sent. But I get frustrated when I see that kind of shit because it's like, what are you doing? That's polluting the brand or causing entity pollution or brand ambiguation, right? Don't do that. Don't switch the names up to where in some cases it's this variant of the brand and in other cases it's that. Don't do that. There's a registered company name. That's what you should go with. If you're going to have a variant of the brand name, then first of all, you should have a DBA, a fictitious name registered with the State Corporation Commission that associates that other name, variant of that other brand name with the original corporate entity name. That way there's a paper trail. There is validating evidence that can be confirmed and validated through the State Corporation Commission that those are variants of the same brand. That's fine. That's a DBA. But if you don't have DBAs for that, don't change the brand name up. Use the proper brand name. And that's because otherwise now what are you doing? You're confusing Google about who the business is, what they do, and where they do it, because Google's not sure who the fucking business is. If there's 3, 4 versions of the brand name out on the web, don't do that. Be consistent. So name, address, phone number, website. If you're linking to if you're referencing a specific location, you should have the brand name proper, the physical address. It should be correct address. The formatting of the address can be varied, and that's okay because as long as it's the correct address, it's okay. The phone number should be consistent unless, like I mentioned, there's a original phone number and a tracking phone number, in which case, as long as one of those 2 numbers are used, it's okay. And then the website URL should be consistent, which should be the location landing page, not some other page on the site, not the homepage. If the homepage is location landing page, fine, use that page. But if it has a dedicated location landing page in the Google Business Profile, then why would you link to the homepage? And I'm not picking on you, Matthew. I'm just answering the question in the way that I typically do, which sometimes my delivery is a bit rough. I understand that. But just understand I do have your best interest at heart. And sometimes they call it tough love. You know what I mean? So anyway, hopefully that's clear. You want to be consistent, guys, with your branding, with what you're referencing as your NAPW, your data points, right? Unless you have some of those other kind of functions or, you know, mechanisms in place like DBAs, additional phone numbers and GBP, etc. Okay, hopefully that's clear. Moving on. Another one from Matthew says, when creating NAP citations for a multiple location business, should I create multiple citations in a particular catalog? So he means like a particular directory, business directory, etc. Or just stick to the main location? No, every location is a unique branded location. So every location can have citations. Again, guys, let me pull this up. Let me pull this up. Okay, we talked about this many times. We're going to talk about it again. There are 4 data points to what we call NAPW, right? Let me zoom in a little bit more. Okay, so we got number 1, the business name, which is the brand, so just brand. The physical address is next. Number 3 is the phone number. And number 4, website address. Okay. If it's a multi-location business, you should only ever have one common data point among those 4, or else you can create location ambiguation, which confuses the hell out of Google. And I see that a lot. Again, I do a lot of audits, and I get requests for multi-location business audits. And they got 4 locations, all 4 locations linked to the homepage URL. What the hell? Like, that confuses the shit out of Google. And trust me, you run a Bright Local report for something like that, and it lights up like a Christmas tree because there's all these errors. You know what I mean? And it's because it doesn't know what is what. And so there should only ever be one common data point across those 4 points there if it's a multi-location business. What is that typically going to be? The business name, duh, right? So that should be the only common data point. But these other data points should be 100% unique. The physical address, the phone number, the website address, because that should be the location landing page, right? So as long as these 3 things are unique, which they should be for a multi-location business, then the brand name can be consistent. Sometimes I will recommend that the company append the city name to their brand, whether you have a separator or not, it doesn't really matter. But you don't have to do that. Like, that's just a way to add a little bit more. There's a little bit of an SEO benefit for doing that, but then also it makes it easier when it's a multi-location business to identify which specific business you're working on, because the city modifier, location modifier, is in the brand name. So that is a way that you can make all 4 versions of, or, you know, all locations have 4 unique data points for all 4 of those points, right? Is by appending like the location name to the business name, because now all 4 of these points are unique. But some cases the client doesn't want that. Some cases also you got to be careful, because when you change the business name, it can trigger re-verification or suspension. So you got to be aware of that. So that's why I say often you could just leave the business name intact without modifying that at all. But these 3 data points would be unique. And if that's the case, then why wouldn't you have separate business directory listings for each location? You absolutely should, because they're all separate branded locations. That makes sense. Okay. It's a good question. Hopefully that was clear. All right, so here was a YouTube comment. I thought I answered this one last week. You know what? I might have answered this last week, and then I don't know. Anyways, I could have sworn I answered this, but I'll answer it again. Somebody says, what metrics? This was a comment from a video where I talked about this before, guys. We're testing with adding comments and questions from YouTube videos into here, because I do not monitor social media and go answer questions. I don't have the time or the desire to do so. Just to be clear, we have our circle community for our mastermind members, and that is where I'm active and engaged. Outside of that, in social media, which I think social media is a damn cesspool. I apologize for that, guys, but I have no desire to be involved in Facebook groups and all that shit anymore. I really don't. I try to stay off Facebook as much as possible. And YouTube's no different. I know we use YouTube for training and all that stuff, but I just don't go in there and answer questions and stuff. I don't. If you're in our mastermind, I'll answer all the questions you want. Hump Day Hangouts, all the questions you want. And I'm just to be clear, it's not that I'm trying to ignore people. I just don't have the time to go in and monitor questions. So instead, we're posting some of those comments or questions, not really comments, but questions over here so that I can answer them here. So this question was, is there a free tool that provides the page and domain relevance for links? I don't know about a free tool, but I use Majestic backlink analysis, majestic.com. They do have a light version. It's only $49 a month. Okay, and I use Majestic because of the topical trust flow metric. That's what matters to me. Google doesn't give a damn about that metric, just to be clear. Just like Google doesn't give a damn about AHREFS metrics or Moz's metrics or SEMrush's metrics or Majestic's metrics. Majestic's two primary metrics are trust flow and citation flow. Trust flow being a measure of link quality and strength, citation flow being a measure of link quantity. But Majestic has the topical trust flow metric, which is the metric that I use. And that is determining the topical relevance of external backlink profiles. And that is then when I can determine that a backlink is relevant, then the trust flow value becomes important. But if the backlink is not topically relevant or geographically relevant to what it's linking to, then I don't give a damn what the trust flow metric is. It means nothing to me. Now, there's always a caveat that I have to mention here. There's a disclaimer, right? There's a qualifier to that statement, and that is, if you are able to get a non-relevant link inserted into an incredibly high authority property, let's use Wikipedia as an example. This is theoretical because it's very unlikely that you could do this. If you were able to hack a link into a Wikipedia page that was non-relevant link, even though Wikipedia has no follow external links, by the way, this is, again, theoretical because that link would be moderated out before you could blink. Wikipedia is really good about that for the most part. But if you were able to hack a non-relevant link into a Wikipedia page, even though it's no follow, and even if it were non-relevant, they would still likely produce a positive effect because of the sheer strength and authority of Wikipedia. But those are very, very unlikely. So that's why I talk about when analyzing like traditional types of links that we, us commoners, us unwashed masses can get on a regular basis. We want to focus on links that provide the most relevance so that we can extract the most value. And that's why I use topical trust flow metric, because that is a really good, it's fairly accurate. It's not 100% perfect, but it's a fairly accurate indicator of what the topical relevance is of external backlinks. And so to answer your question, Majestic is only $49 for the light version, which will give you the relevance metrics that you desire. But you also need to know, what does Google understand about the pages that you're linking to, right? There's two parts to this. There is, first of all, identifying what the topical categories are of the pages that you're going to be linking to. And what I do, and I demonstrate this, by the way, guys, just so you know, in our YouTube channel, if you go to our channel right here and you go to the search function and you search for competitive, if I could spell competitive link analysis. So just search our channel, again, if I could spell. And it's this one right here, competitive link analysis for local SEO. It's an hour and 8 minutes long. This was extracted from a mastermind webinar where I did full training on exactly, and by the way, in the pinned comment is the Excel file. But this is how I do competitive link analysis, and it uses Majestic and SEO tools for SEO, which is an extension for Excel, and which is, there's a lot of tools in that SEO tools for Excel that are paid tools, but you can add the extension to Excel for free, and then the Majestic SEO extension is free to use, but you have to have a paid Majestic subscription, which is, again, all you need is the light subscription, which is $49. But so that's how you can analyze the backlink profiles and to determine the relevance of the referring pages. So pages where you have backlinks. You can also analyze the backlink profile of whatever target asset or pages you want to look at. But there's two steps to this, and that is to determine what does Google understand about the top ranked pages for the search queries that you want to target. So in other words, if you've got a search query that you're trying to, rank a page for, okay, first go find out, what does Google understand about the topical categories of the top ranked pages for that particular search query? So we do it by the top 5 ranked pages. We look at the top 5 ranked. Remember, Google does not rank websites for search queries. Google ranks web pages for search queries. But a website's authority and strength has a significant influence on a page's ability to rank. So we always want to look at page level metrics first. And so first thing you want to do is look at the top ranked pages for the particular search query that you want to rank for. Then go submit those page URLs at the page level, not the domain level, to Google's natural language API. You can do that through Google's developer console, and you can identify, that's a free way to do it. It's a bit cumbersome because it's slow and you got to do it one at a time. I use a tool called On-Page AI to do that, which just integrates with Google's natural language API. It's a quite expensive tool. But I can then go in and quickly identify, look, I'll just, you know what? Let's just fucking demonstrate this. How about we do that? Did you guys want to see a demonstration? Let me do this real quick. I wasn't going to do training today, but I'll just do this because I think it's important for you guys to understand this. So we're going to use the Louisville Felling Pro project. If I can find it, there it is. And I'll give you a quick example. All right. All right. So, and then, by the way, all this is covered in this video here, but I'm going to do it live right now just to show you guys. It's not a hard process, simple. So what I do is first I geolocate the browser for the if it's a local search query that you're analyzing. I want to geolocate the browser for where the GBP is physically located so that I can simulate a local search from that specific location. So one of the ways you can do that is using the Bright local search checker. All right, let me just show you this right here. This is the Bright local search checker. Just search it in Google, you'll find it. Okay, so in this case, I would say let's go search for Louisville, KY, and then whatever search term I want in there. So I could do just the general search query, or I could do the search query with the location modifier. I could do it with near me. I could do it any which way I want. Whatever it is that you want to analyze. So let's just say tree service Louisville is the keyword that I'm searching for with the browser geolocated in Louisville. Then I'm going to click on Google search, check search results. What I'm going to do is open this up. And now if we go take a look at this, you'll see at the bottom of this page, it's showing me that my IP, or according to this, because it just changed the settings, it's showing that I'm searching now from Louisville, Kentucky. Okay, does that make sense? So it's geolocated the browser. Then I go in and I pull in the search query. In this case was tree service Louisville. And God damn it, my mouse wheel still broke. I have not got a new mouse and it's been driving me nuts. But you can see these are the top ranked competitor pages. Now I'm going to omit any big directory sites because I want to identify the top ranked local business type sites. Well, remember, they're web pages that are ranking, but I want to identify the local business type websites that have ranking pages for that particular search query. Not Yelp, not Angie, not Lawn Starter, not any of those, because yes, we are competing with them to rank on page 1 for that search query, but we're not competing with them on a link level, on a link authority level. You will never compete with Yelp on a link authority level with a local business site unless you are spending millions and millions of dollars on links, which nobody's going to do on a local level. Does that make sense? So we'll omit those because that's not a fair comparison. We want to do an apples to apples comparison. So we want to identify the top ranked local business sites that have web pages ranking for this search query to identify what the hell are they doing that Google likes and why is Google rewarding them with top ranking positions. So the way that we do that is go geolocate the browser for the local search query, the same area in which you're looking to analyze the top ranked competitors, perform the search, then extract the top ranking pages for that particular search query, put them into the sheet, which, by the way, this sheet is available to you guys as part of this. It's that pinned comment. Download that Excel file, open it up, make a copy of it, keep the original, make a copy of it, and then assign that to the project that you're analyzing. Okay, then what we do is then we title the sheet after the search query that we use to collect the data. We pull the top ranked competitor page URLs in and put them in the order in which we found them. Okay. Then we go use, again, if I open this up in Excel, I would show, this is in OneDrive, so I can't do it in OneDrive. But if I open it up in Excel, let's just do that real quick. I'll demonstrate it very briefly. Okay, so we'll take the same search query, tree service Louisville, Kentucky. It's the same Excel book, guys, except now I'll close it out from OneDrive and just do it here. Okay. And you'll see we have SEO tools here. This is an extension. Here's the Majestic extension. So if I click on backlinks, then it's going to tell me to log in. And then I've saved a particular setting that I call target URL backlinks. This is all described in that video that I pointed out on our YouTube channel. It's public, guys. We made that public for a reason. So I'm going to select target URL backlinks, select. And then what I would do is then go and we have sheets on each one of these pages, and you'll see one's called competitors. And here's where then I would go clear this data. So I'm going to click clear content. Then I'm going to highlight that first kind of cell. Then I'm going to put the page URL in there, but not just the page URL that is ranking. I'm going to put all 4 versions of the page URL because it's likely that their format of that URL has changed at some point. They added an SSL certificate. They added or removed www, right? So for example, if we come back over here and we look at tree service Louisville, we're just going to take this first competitor here, and we're going to go, I'm just going to open up my notepad file. And what I always do is change that. And I don't do these anymore unless I'm demonstrating it. But I have VAs that do these for me, all these reports for me, unless, like I said, I'm teaching. But what I'm going to do is create 4 versions of that URL. Now, if it's a subdomain page instead of a page on the root domain, then oftentimes you can omit doing this, maybe just the HTTP and HTTPS versions. But in this case, I'm going to have 4 versions of this URL because it's likely that, especially if this business has been around for a while, that the URL format has changed at some point. And if you're only analyze the backlinks to one specific version of a URL, then you're only getting a partial picture of the true backlink, the full backlink profile, because all you're looking at is the backlinks pointing to that one specific version. So you have to analyze all 4 versions of the page URL, because if the hosting is configured properly, the server, etc., is configured properly, then all 4 versions should resolve to whatever the most current version of the URL is, correct? Right? Okay, so in this case, I'm going to take all 4 versions of this URL, paste this in here, go back to my competitors sheet, put my cell there, and the settings are source URL, target URL, anchor text, flag deleted, flag no follow, and that's it. Those 5 check marks. Again, all of this is covered in the YouTube video. And then down here, I changed max results per item for local to 1,000 because it's very rare that we ever see anything with more than 1,000 links. If you think that there is, you can always change that to 10,000, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then I'm going to click insert. And this is going to go out, and using Majestic, it's going to pull in all the backlinks. I'll zoom in on this a little bit so you guys can see it. What I then do is then I classify this. Okay, so first of all, you can see flag deleted, flag no follows. So I'm going to click to select all. I'm going to go back to data. I'm going to go to sort, and I want to sort with my data has headers, and I want to sort by flag deleted, and I want to do largest to smallest, because if it has a 1 in that that cell under flag deleted, that means it's deleted. If it has a 0, it means it's not deleted. Okay, so I'm going to do largest to smallest, and then I can eliminate these links from my analysis right off the bat, right? Because I know that those are deleted. There's no sense in analyzing those. But then I want to sort by flag no follow, and I want to get rid of them. No follow links are valuable for SEO, guys. Don't let anybody tell you any different. But they don't affect anchor text ratios. So that the anchor text from no follow links do not influence anchor text ratios. So we can delete those as well. Now what we're left with are the remaining links. So there's 38 links that are pointing to that some version of that homepage URL. Is that clear? And then what I do is then I add a column right here next to anchor text that I call anchor type. You don't have to add this into the header, but you can. Okay, and then I'm going to do a couple things here just for formatting issues because I'm anal like this. I'm going to center it. Then I'm also going to change the formatting to a number with no decimals. Okay, so I'm going to remove that formatting to number with 0 decimals. And now this is the anchor type. Then last thing I'm going to do is then sort this data by anchor text first. A to Z, Z to A, doesn't matter. And then I'm going to go through and assign the anchor text types based upon one of 5 anchor text categories, which are referenced in the competitive link analysis sheets. That's these 5 anchor text categories there. The brand/URL is the brand name is the anchor, or the URL is an anchor. Something else that I include in that category is what I call a compound anchor, which is a brand plus a keyword modifier, brand plus a location modifier. As long as the brand is in the anchor text, the brand name is in the anchor text, I consider that a brand anchor. The miscellaneous anchor is another term for that is generic. Click here, learn more, this post, website, etc. Business directory listings are going to give you usually miscellaneous anchors. It's going to say website or something like that, right? Those are miscellaneous. Empty/frame anchor is an iframe or an embed or a redirect or an image backlink without alt text. If the image has alternative text, then the alt text is the anchor text. If it doesn't, that's an empty anchor. Okay. A target anchor is unique or specific to local SEO in that it is a keyword plus location modifier. Usually it's going to be keyword plus city or city plus keyword or keyword plus near me or one of the variants of near me. So around me, in my area, nearby, etc. Does that make sense? And then lastly is a topic anchor. A topic anchor is a keyword only anchor. It's usually a product or service keyword without a location modifier. By the way, where did I get this information? Like this concept, this method? Believe it or not, from Matt Diggity. Matt Diggity has, been an affiliate SEO for as long as I've known of him. But I found this anchor text ratio process or method on his blog that he was talking about for affiliate projects. When you want to rank a page for a keyword, this is what you do. And I said, I wonder if this would work for local. And so I started testing this with local about 3 years ago. And sure enough, it fucking works. And of course it does, because we are averaging out the top ranked pages, the backlink profile for the top ranked pages for the particular search query that we want to rank for. So it gives us the data of the top performers so that we can model that with our own backlink profile, right? We can meet and exceed. We can model it, but just do it better with better, more relevant links. And so again, I learned this from Matt Diggity. I always want to give credit where credit is due. And he doesn't do local. Apparently he's going to be getting into local though. I heard that from somebody recently. But that I thought I just modified his method to apply to local, and it works. So again, coming back over here, if we come back to the competitor sheet now, like I said, since I described what the 5 anchor text types are, then it's very easy for me to just look at the anchor text and just put a value in this cell based upon that. So this is a brand anchor, right? So I'm going to hit enter. Next one is going to be a miscellaneous anchor, right? So visit website is a miscellaneous anchor. So I can do that, or once I have a couple of cells with that same value, I can then drag it down to the bottom. Okay, here's another one. This is another brand anchor. This is also, this is what I would consider a brand anchor as well, even though it may be considered miscellaneous because it's kind of squeezed together without a domain extension. But I would go ahead and consider that as a brand anchor for now. And so I would drag that down until, and there's more brand anchors. Then there's another miscellaneous. There's another brand anchor, right? Brand/URL anchor. So I'd go back and keep adding ones in here. You can see how it's very quick. And most, by the way, guys, most local projects, this is what you'll see. Very few links. So it's not hard. Once you eliminate no follow links and deleted links, like most of the time, you don't have a lot of links left to do this for. So it doesn't take long. And then we'll go down here. This is going to be miscellaneous, 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 right? Last thing that I'm going to do then is I'm going to then go back, select all, go to data, sort. Now I'm going to sort by anchor type. Largest to smallest, smallest to largest, doesn't really matter. I usually do smallest to largest. Now that's going to sort those by anchor text type. The last thing that I'll do then is then now I know, because of the number of rows here, that there are 38 links pointing to that some version of the homepage URL. Out of those 38 links, so I would come back over here, and in fact, I can go ahead and update this data now. This is the LouisvilleTreeService.biz domain, which I believe is there. Okay, so this is showing that since the last time this data was analyzed, there's been apparently 5 additional links that have been built to that homepage, right? So we know there's 38 because I just showed that. 39 rows of data with add a row, so there's 38 links, right? All right, so I'm going to come back here. I'm going to update this to 38. Then I'm going to go back to the competitor sheet. Hit tab to move that over. Oops. I'm going to go back to the competitor sheet. All I'm going to do is select the number ones and then highlight them. And then right here, you can see it says count. And it's probably very small on your end, guys, but it says count. There's 25. That means there's 25 cells selected here. So then I can come back here and I can add 25 in the brand/URL category. I'm going to tab over to the next one, which is miscellaneous. I'm going to scroll back to the competitors sheet. Excuse me. I'm going to scroll down, highlight. Oops. What did I just do? Okay. I'm going to scroll back down and highlight that batch. And it says count 13. So I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to put 13 in miscellaneous. And then I'm going to go back through and put zeros in for the rest, because that was zeros for each of those other types. And then this last column here is just, I added that column there just to make sure that there was no math errors. I want to make sure that the number of links here by all this last column here is you can see the formula there. It's showing for column whatever D2 plus L2 plus J2 plus F2 plus H2, that should total the same number of links as what you saw, what we posted here. That way you just know in case you made an error in data entry or whatever. Okay, hopefully that's clear. So now what that's done is we have the exact link metrics for the ranking page for that particular search query. And we know exactly which type of anchors they are. We do that same process for the top 5 ranked competitor pages. It gives us the average number of links and the average anchor text ratio, which is what we want to try to model the money site after. Not these other assets, you can be more aggressive with link building because they're high authority assets, Google, Amazon S3, the ID page, etc. But the money site page should have similar kind of anchor text ratios. And by the way, something else, guys, we try not to exceed the average number of links for the top ranked competitors for the specific page for that search query. But keep in mind, guys, having a higher quantity of links is not a spam signal if the links are relevant. It is a spam signal if you have a higher quantity of links that aren't relevant, because it's clear that you were building links to try to influence ranking, but the links were shit. They weren't relevant. So they weren't working. So you built more links, right? So just understand that it's okay to exceed this average number of links as long as you're building links with relevance. All right. But that brings me back to the last point, which is I just explained how you can use a very inexpensive tool, $49 a month, to identify topical metrics for backlinks and or for pages and domains and backlink profiles. Okay. But we also need to identify, what does Google understand about this? So the top ranked pages. So I'm going to close the Majestic thing now. And coming back to the search query that we're analyzing here, I want to know, what does Google understand about these top page URLs that are ranking for this search query, so that I know exactly which topical categories that I need to be getting links from to influence organic ranking. And by the way, it does have a slight influence on maps ranking, but this is more of an organic push than anything. Hopefully that's clear. Topical relevance has more of an influence on organic ranking with a slight influence on maps, or GBP performance in maps. Links with geographic relevance or location relevance have more of an influence on maps ranking and a slight influence on organic. But that's where I use this tool. Now, this tool is not cheap, but you can do this with going to Google's developers console and going to the natural language tool, and then pasting a URL in there, or copying the content from the main content body of the pages that you're analyzing, plugging it in there, and Google will tell you the topical categories. This is just a much easier way to do it, but you have to pay for this tool, and this tool is not cheap. But if we come in here and look at predictive link building, and I'll just go to load and just show you a quick example. If I put in Louisville Felling Pro, essentially what we're doing here, guys, is we pull in the target URL plus the top pages, the ranked pages for that search query. We want to submit these page URLs to Google so that Google returns the topical categories, natural language categories, that it identified on each of these ranking pages. That's what this is. These are the topical categories, Google's natural language categories, that were identified on these pages. So that's what we consolidate in, keep looking for it in Chrome, but it's in Excel now. These are the topical categories that were identified by Google. So we consolidate that list and deduplicate it and add it to the specific sheet. So we know when we're going to create a contextual link to place within content, we should tune the content or optimize the content to make sure that it falls within one or a combination of these categories, so that we can achieve 100% page level relevance matching from the contextual link to what it is linking to. Does that make sense? But then we also want to analyze that the referring domain, the potential referring domain that we're considering publishing that post on, to make sure that the referring domain has the primary topical category or theme, right? The overall topical theme of the site in its entirety should be in one or a combination of these topical categories as well, so that we can achieve domain level relevance from that backlink as well as page level relevance. But then we can match up Google's Majestic's topical trust flow categories. It's not the same category structure. It's very similar, but they're not the same. But we can often find topical trust flow categories that align with or match up with Google's natural language categories, right? And by the way, here's a sheet that I created for semantic links that is topical trust flow. It's just TTF for topical trust flow. So ttf.semanticlinks.io. These are all the topical trust flow categories according to Majestic. So what we then do is we collect the topical trust flow categories that match up with or align with Google's natural language categories, so that we can look for potential link sources I always start looking at the backlink profile of potential link sources first. So I go out 3 levels and I look at the backlink profile to potential link sources to determine, are the backlinks pointing to this potential link source relevant in the relevant categories that I need them to be in, so that when I publish a post on that site, I'm going to instantly benefit from the backlinks that are pointing to that site because they're relevant. Does that make sense? So just last thing I'll show you, and then I know I went way over on this, but I thought this was important. We're going to take that same project and we're going to look up Louisville Felling Pro to show you guys an example of what happens when you get proper links. Okay, so take a look at this, guys, just so you know. We go over here and take a look at the tier 1 link sheet. So these are the links that have been placed for this project, which is a new project. It's a new link building project. I've had this project for 2.5 years, but I really never did much with it. It was a test project. Only recently did I decide to rank the son of a bitch. And so we started building links last month in June, or 2 months ago now in June. And so here are the links that were placed to that asset. And if we go take a look at that, look at the metrics, guys. Look at the relevance matching that we achieve. You guys see that? And if we just go take a look at one, like I told you, we're achieving page level relevance, domain level relevance, and then the backlink profile pointing to the domain, the referring domain, is relevant. let me demonstrate that. We're going to go over to Majestic. By the way, look at the backlink profile for Majestic, guys. What were the topical categories identified right here as being the ones that should be this project should be optimized for or have backlinks from? Look at this. You guys think I'm hitting the proper relevance metrics? That's a yes, right? So if we go take a look at this site here, right? This is the site that one of those links was published on. That's this one right here. Let's go analyze that real fast, right? We're going to actually look at the overall backlink profile to the entire domain. So we're going to look at root domain. There's 20 referring domains that have backlinks pointing to this. Look at the trust flow value. It's a high value and it's 100% relevant. 99.98% in one of the topical categories identified here is being relevant. So you can see that I always start by looking at potential link sources by identifying all these metrics first. So we have quantity-based metrics or surface level, page level metrics, which are quantity metrics. Then we get the topical metrics, and then I go hunt down link sources that have relevant link profiles already pointing to them, so that when we go publish a post, we achieve these types of relevance matching and we benefit from the backlinks that are pointing to the referring domain because they're relevant as well. Does that make sense? So that is precisely how you use simple tools to be able to determine what type of metrics you should be hitting, the type of relevance that you should be pushing, at least on the topical level. Geographic is a bit different because you have to literally go, because most of the time geographic links are going to have very poor metrics as far as traditional metrics like no trust flow, which is really the only, and therefore no topical trust flow. You cannot have a topical trust flow value assigned unless it has at least a trust flow value of 1. Then it can have a topical trust flow category assigned. With geographic links, so links with location relevance, they typically are going to be very low quality, not very powerful links, insignificant as far as traditional link equity. But it's the fact that they're local, they're links coming from local sources that makes them significant for ranking GBPs or for helping GBPs perform better in map search. Hopefully that's clear. Okay. Anyway, that was a lot longer than I expected to go into that one particular question. So I apologize. It is after 5 o'clock. If anybody's got to bounce, if my partners are still not on, feel free to bounce. I'm going to answer a couple more questions before I wrap up.
Well, real quick, Bradley, I gotta bounce for date night, or I'm gonna be in
Sure.
some deep crap.
gotta
But
do,
yeah,
man?
there's some questions on the cool. There's some questions there you probably want to check out before you take off.
Okay, thanks, man.
See ya.
Appreciate you sticking around. All right, so guys, next one is do cloud stacks. Hopefully that was helpful, guys. I wasn't planning on doing training today, but that was a question I thought was valid and worth repeating. Repeating the training for. All right, so the next one was, you mentioned overall site quality score. Is there a specific tool metric you use for this, such as AHREFS? No, I have no idea if there is a tool out there that analyzes and determines a theoretical site quality score. That is a Google thing, and Google's certainly not going to reveal those to us. And if there are any third-party tools that do that, it's their best guess. It's not Google's data. So that's why I like to use on-page AI for determining relevance metrics, because this is Google's own data, right? That tells me exactly what I should be building links, like the topical categories that Google wants to see, etc. So I do not have a tool for that. It's just what I understand about the helpful content update. And so it's important. I talk about this before, but it used to be, before the helpful content update, you could have a terrible site that was poorly optimized, but you could have one page or a couple of, or a handful of pages, whatever, on the site that were optimized very well. And those pages could rank very, very well. And even if the rest of the site was garbage and junk, as long as it didn't have like a link penalty, etc., things like that, a domain-wide penalty, then you could rank a particular page, because that page was optimized well, even if the rest of the site wasn't. After the helpful content update, that kind of leveled the playing field a bit, in that there's kind of an overall site quality score that Google determines and assigns to the site based upon a number of factors, crawl resistance being one of the, in my opinion, biggest factors right now. Google is rewarding efficiency, guys, at least in local SEO it is. And so when I say helpful content update, there's whatever that score is that Google determines is now added as similar, like a multiplier to various pages on the site. So even if you had theoretically a page that was optimized to perfection, if the rest of the site was junk and Google had given it a low quality score, then that quality score would be added as a multiplier to the page that was optimized to perfection, therefore lowering its overall quality score, so that one page would not perform as well as it could have previous to the helpful content update. Hopefully that's clear. So I use that as a way to kind of tell people, like, first of all, start with page structure. That's I always recommend whenever I'm teaching. You always want to start with page structure first, but then site structure and internal linking are, in my opinion, the second most important thing. They're two items, but they're parallel as being the second most important thing. All three of them are important. It's like having a stool. You can't just have a one-legged stool or else it'll always fall over. You can have a two-legged stool, but it'll be very unstable. Or you can have a three-legged stool and it'll be stable. And so that is page structure, site structure, internal linking. So the helpful content update means start with page structure. And then I use the page structure to determine through internal linking how to build the rest of the site structure, the architecture of the rest of the site. I always start with page structure. And so that's why I recommend, like, with the helpful content update, it's important to have all three of those elements done properly, or else the one page or number of pages that are optimized well will never perform as well as they should, because the rest of the site is pulling the quality score down of even individual pages. Hopefully that's clear. And so that's why it's really important to hit fire on all cylinders, essentially. That makes sense. All right. Guys, remember, everything that I'm saying is in the context of local. So I can't tell you how many times I have people, say, well, that's not true about, okay, I'm not talking about ecom. I'm not talking about national SEO, any of that. I'm talking about local SEO. Okay. And I do a lot of testing with local SEO, and these are what I've discovered as works and what doesn't work. All right. Mark says, when searching on Google for a niche, is it better to use a location changer and search for the service, or not use a location changer and search for service name city? No, I think it's way better to use something like Bright Local Search Checker, or something comparable, because true localized searches, you can't simulate that by just adding a location modifier to the query. You have to change the IP, or where Google thinks the search is originating from. Hopefully that's clear. I always use this tool when analyzing local search queries. Always. It doesn't have to be this tool. It can be something comparable. Hopefully that answered that question. Raphael said, would it make sense to try to optimize a rank and rent site for a very niche subcategory? For example, if you were in the swimming pool contractor service, would you niche down to swimming pool lighting services? Or should we always stick to GMB or GBP categories and then optimize subpages for those niches? Well, I prefer to optimize for the category, the topic or category. I mean, goddamn, that's all I've been talking about for the last 2 years. But there are times where it makes sense to optimize for a specialty service within a category. I usually recommend doing that for something like a directory site, because a directory site is a marketing tool to initiate conversations with the business owners in whatever industry you've chosen to build the directory in. And so in that case, I recommend building a specialized directory, or a directory that for a specialized service within a particular Google business or business category, because then it's much easier to get traction from the directory, which then will bring leads into your business. And that doesn't mean that you have to only do swimming pool lighting services, because your directory is targeting that. You could do swimming pool contractors in general, do marketing and lead generation and SEO for swimming pool contractors. But your initial hook to initiate the conversation is on a specialized service that is much lower competition, which means you're likely to be able to rank for it. Which, by the way, it makes sense to build rank and rent sites or lead gen sites that you can point to in your marketing and your sales process when pitching your services to pool contractors, for example. Like, if you can build a site that's optimized, or even just a single page that is optimized for swimming pool lighting services, and rank it in their own area, and then contact contractors or companies in that area that provide those services and say, I'm outranking you for this service. Go search it and you'll see. I can do this for you for your other services too. Are you willing? Are you interested? Like, again, you can use those as marketing and sales tools. But I prefer to build LLG sites, or local lead gen sites, at the topic or category level, essentially, because then you have the potential to rank that site for all of the services that they offer in that business. Hopefully that's clear. It makes sense to do it both ways, but just understand what you're doing. I prefer to do overall category optimization, but it does make sense at times to do it on a specialized service level. Michael says, what are the major differences between Bing ads, and Google's ranking? I'm not sure what you mean by that question. Bing ads are ads. Google ranking is done through search engine optimization. So completely different animals. If you mean what's the difference between Bing ads and Google ads, not much. Just there's a lot more money spent in Google. a lot more reach in Google. If you're asking about the difference between Bing search engine optimization and Google search engine optimization, I can't answer that because I have no idea how to optimize do search engine optimization for Bing. I have no idea how to do that. Never even attempted it. So I can't answer that. Okay, I got through all the questions. So let's get into comments briefly, and then we're going to wrap up if there's any comments, which Adam said there was. So if I can find the damn comment box, there it is. I got it. Aaron Powell says, on each page, how many H1s, H2s, etc. would you recommend? One H1, Aaron. You should only have ever one H1 on any page unless it is a category or an index page, like a blog roll page, tag archive page, blog archive page, category archive page. That's fine. Those are going to be H1s typically for each of the posts in that archive page, post or pages. Those are going to be multiple H1s. But for sites, pages should only have one H1, guys. Full stop. Unless there's two versions of the site, a desktop and a mobile version, in which case you can have two H1s, but they should be the same H1. That makes sense. Guys, please understand, HTML markup has proper HTML markup within the page structure is significantly more weighted now than it was previously. Like, in other words, and I just talked about this in the audit review video that I recorded for today for the whatever. I just did an audit review and I just was very clear about this in that video. So it's fresh on my mind anyway. But back when I first got started in SEO, proper HTML markup within the main content body of the page. So within the body tags of the page. It was really important when I first got started in SEO. And over time, Google, I think, placed less emphasis on the HTML markup of the page because it became more common for us as, in the web, internet marketing world, web design, etc., to start using heading tags, H tags, because I call headings H2s. Specifically, headings are H2s. Subheadings are H3s, 4s, and 5s. And H1 is a page title. An SEO title is an SEO title, meta title, or document title. Hopefully that's clear. So the way that I've described headings and subheadings are SEO title is the same or synonymous with meta title or document title. The page title is the H1. Page or post title is the H1. Headings are H2s. Subheadings are H3s, 4s, 5s, etc. And so I see it again. I just did an audit today and there was 40 H2s on the page. If everything is an H2, nothing's an H2. And so what I'm getting at, guys, is Google, for a long time, when I first got started in SEO, proper HTML markup within the main content body of the pages was critically important for ranking. Then over time, it became less important. And as more page builders and website builders and everything else appeared or became available to us, people were using H tags for styling and things like that instead of to convey what the topic or the concept of the page was to the search engines and to the visitors, etc. So people started using headings or H tags as styling elements and using them, not the appropriate way as what they were intended for. And so, but more recently, I think it's because of the onset of AI and the proliferation of web, content on the web. And Google's been very public about the fact that its resources are overburdened and it doesn't have the processing power to constantly crawl and scan everything on the web. So Google is taking shortcuts every which way it can to try to identify what a page is about with using the least amount of processing power, the least amount of resources. And so HTML markup over the last 1.5 to 2 years, according to my testing, has made a resurgence as being critically important to being able to convey to Google exactly what the page is about through the main optimization elements of the page, which are headings and subheadings, period. To demonstrate this, again, guys, I'm going way over today, but I think this is important. It's a great question. Let's take a look at something, and I did. Guys, I do a ton of testing. I don't just pull this shit out of the air. Let's see. Sorry. Let me go back to predictive link building. Where the hell is it? I do a lot of testing, guys, and I do this for a reason. So we're going to look at press.city scene, see if it comes up. Okay, here it is. Take a look at this, guys. So, do you think heading tags are important? Let me explain this to you. Let's take a look at this page. Guys, this page has 0 content on it. All it has is an SEO title, one H1 right here, one H1, and then it's got two H2s with supporting H3s. That is the proper hierarchy of how you should be structuring your pages, guys. You should have one H1. By the way, the SEO title and the H1 are the SEO title and H1 should provide agreement with each other. I like to say that they should basically the SEO title, the H1 should be a restatement of the SEO title. We're using variants of whatever was claimed or disclaimed in the SEO title. So the H1 and the SEO title should be synonymous with each other, that support each other with, but not the same exact, format, same keywords, same phrases, whatever. They should be variants, which is why I talk about topic and category optimization, optimize for the topic or category in the SEO title and the other in the H1, because they should provide agreement, corroborate each other, validate each other with using variants so that it's not over optimized. Then the H2s are headings, guys. Those should be the main points of the article in sections. Each section should have its own H2. Then H3s, 4s, and 5s, which are subheadings, should support their respective headings. The H2s should support the overall theme of the H1 and SEO title, which are congruent with each other. Do you understand? That is proper markup. And when you do that properly, you convey to Google through the main optimization points without the need for content, specifically what the page is about. And so, guys, take a look at this. Again, this has an SEO title. Look at the SEO title. It's the semantic triplet statement. Subject, object, predicate. Who you are, what you do, where you do it. Brand entity, product, service entity, location entity. Those three things are stated in the SEO title. Well, they're repeated or restated in the SEO, or excuse me, the H1, the page title, but using a variant of that. It corroborates it, but it's a variant. It's restated with using variated terms, essentially. Then I have two H2s with supporting H3s that support their respective H2s. So the subheadings support their headings. And what does Google understand about this page, guys, with no content on it? Look for yourself. There's no content on this page, guys. It's headings and subheadings. That's it. Does Google understand what this page is about? This is Google's data. So Google knows exactly what this page is about with no content. So to answer the question was, how many should you have? Well, there isn't a set number. There's no blanket formula. It's what do you want to convey to Google about that page? And can you do it through the main optimization points of the page? And so that you don't have to go. Those of you that are out there using Page Optimizer Pro, Surfer SEO, On-Page AI, which, by the way, I don't use On-Page AI for on-page optimization. I use it for link relevancy. That's it. Because those of you that are going out and trying to get that 100 or 90 and above score, optimization score from all these stupid page optimization apps out there that are negative feedback loops that are telling you got to have this much content, this number of words, this entity density, this number of keywords, etc. All of that, guys, is, in my opinion, it's a complete waste of time in local. In local SEO, you can convey to Google what the page is about through the main optimization points, which are headings and subheadings and media. And so why go through all that trouble and optimizing pages with 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, sometimes 3,000 words of content because some page optimizing tool out there told you that that's what you needed to rank, when it's very clear through Google's own data that we can convey to Google what the page is about through the main optimization points. Because, by the way, what did I talk about earlier on today's webinar, guys? Google is rewarding efficiency. So if you can convey to Google what the page is about without 3,000 words of content, without the Google bot having to scroll and scan and crawl down all that way, all it's looking at is the headings anyways, at least in local. In local, again, local. It's looking at the headings and the main optimization points of the page to try to identify what is this page about. And so if you can convey it to Google in the simplest terms possible, with the least amount of resources required for Google to understand what the page is about, Google will reward that page with better performance. And that's why I keep stressing to people, guys, get away from thinking that this is 2020. This is 2024. The algorithm is a completely different animal than it was 4 years ago. Stop optimizing like it was 4 years ago, because you're killing yourself and producing so much more work for yourself than it was required or necessary in order to achieve results right now. Focus on relevance. Remember, we just talked about all this stuff. Focus on relevance and creating efficiency in your site builds. Reducing crawl resistance. Thank you, Cecilia. She's the one that gave me that term, and I love that term. And Google will reward the site. You will need less links, less content, less pages, everything, because you were you're providing efficiency. You're conveying to Google who the business is, what they do, and where they do it in a succinct and efficient way, using less resources. Does that make sense? Anyway, I hope that was clear. Moving on. So, Aaron, I hope I answered your question. If you're using, I'm not saying you are, but page optimizing tools for local, I think is ridiculous. Honestly, I don't use them at all. I do topic and category research. I figure out what the proper topics and categories are and how to structure the page properly. By the way, you can figure that out through looking at the clues from the Wikipedia pages of the entities associated with the industry you're working in. I've talked about this over the last 2 weeks, but go look at the entity pages in Wikipedia that are related to your industry and look at how the pages are structured. Look at the internal links. That'll give you clues as to how to structure your pages and the site and internal links of the sites that you're working on. And when you get it right, it's going to take some trial and error in whatever industries you're working in. But when you get it right, it requires significantly less of everything to rank. Hopefully that's clear. And guys, just one more time. And I know I'm going to go to an hour and a half today, 90 minutes, which is very rare for me on these Hump Day Hangouts, but we're going to do it anyway. So just a quick example. This project, again, I've talked about this project. There are some horrid on-page optimization errors on this Louisville Felling Pro site. Some major structural HTML element or markup errors on this site. But the other elements, internal linking and site structure, or site structure and internal linking, are done properly. And I'm building relevant links to this project. You guys want to see the kind of results that can occur when you do this properly. And by the way, go look at that damn site, guys. There's 10 pages on this site. There aren't 1,500 pages on this site because I'm targeting keyword plus city for every damn city on the site. It's not necessary, guys. It's not necessary. Okay, go take a look at the site. There are basically 10 pages on the site: a home page, 4 service pages, 5 location pages. Then there's the contact, privacy, etc. So those are pages that are common pages. I don't consider those. There's 10 pages on this site. Okay, you see the backlinks that I built to this site. Here are the backlinks that I built to the site, guys. I'm not this 100%. There's 3 other links that have been built to this site that are geographic links that are not in this sheet. There's tier 1 links, tier 2 links. That's it. Okay. Look at the results of this. On the 2nd of July, when I started tracking this project, when we first started, I started building links 2 months ago. I started tracking a month later. This is where this was for the keyword tree service. Okay, look at it now. A month later, 5.5, 63 in Louisville. So a 16.8 to a 5.5 in a month, right? Guys, again, I'm telling you, you get this stuff right, and it requires significantly less work, and you can see huge ranking gains like this. Look at this one, tree removal. 17.4 a month ago. Today, or a week ago, 3.6, right? In a month. Guys, there's no dark arts going on here, no black magic. It's just what I've been teaching. Proper page structure, site structure, internal linking. The GBP and location landing page provide agreement with each other. Look at how the GBP is optimized. Or let's go pull this up again. What's the website URL linked to from this GBP? The company's name is Louisville Felling Pro. The homepage of the site is Louisville Felling Pro. But I'm linking from the website URL from the GBP. That's what I call the location landing page. Where does that go? To the Louisville page. So that the page is optimized to provide agreement with how the GBP is optimized. Right? We don't need a lot of links. You don't need a lot of pages. You don't need a lot of content. You just need proper structure to be able to convey to Google in a succinct and efficient way who the business is, what they do, where they do it. And then you corroborate that every which way you can. Push relevance into the project, which is what I was showing you here, right? And which is what I was showing you with all these, the links that we provide or that I provide, that I build for my projects and clients' projects, which are links with relevance, topic and geographic relevance. That's these links in this sheet here are all topical links, but I did build prior to starting an official link building campaign. I did some testing with some geographic links to this project. I think there's 3 or 4 geographic links built to this project, as well as these topical links that you're seeing here. That's it. And you can see these kind of jumps that we took. Look at Arborist. Look at Arborist, guys. Arborist was 12.8 a month ago, 2.9 now. In a month. That's huge in my opinion. And it's because of what I've been trying to teach, guys. instead of having a site with 300 pages, 3,000 words of content on every page, all that duplication and redundancy. You need a ton of links, all that kind of shit. Don't do that anymore. You don't need to. Not for local. Other things maybe you do, but for local, you don't need to. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna wrap up. Sorry I went so long today, guys. Hey guys, Rank says, rank 1 pack. Okay. Hey guys, I'm new to the channel. I know you're probably talked about this, but can you explain your approach on site structure for local SEO? Yeah, I just did, so I don't need to cover that again right now. But if you want me to cover that more thoroughly another time, whoever you are, just post that question in the Hump Day Hangouts questions form, and I'll cover it again next week again. It's fine. I don't mind. I keep doing this over and over and over again because I'm hoping it'll sink in eventually, because I still see it all the time. Even my own mastermind members that have been in my mastermind for the last 2 years, who've just heard me incessantly repeat the same shit over and over and over again. And I still see all the time, just it's like, 2020. It's not 2024. It's still 2020 for a lot of SEOs. And then you wonder why you can't get consistency out of your campaigns. And I'm not picking on anybody here. I'm just stating, you got to change and evolve with how the algorithm is shifting, guys. And for local, it's so much different. It's almost unrecognizable from what it was 3 or 4 years ago, in my opinion. Okay. James says, how important is schema for local SEO? Am I really missing out? I think it's important. I think it's more important now than it's ever been. I don't do any elaborate schema, though. I just do local business schema with the appropriate subtype that's really well developed local business schema. On the location landing page, I do organization schema on the home page. And then I do just web page schema on the other pages. That's it. Service supporting location pages. All other pages aside, I just do web page schema. That's it. And I automate that using inlinks. Hopefully that's clear. James says, I find Google takes my addresses with the street or road and uses the abbreviation state and road when they give me the GBPs. Yeah, and that's fine. And that, like I said, it used to be where that could cause NAP issues if they were NAP discrepancies. If the punctuation was different or the spelling was different. Excuse me. Google's gotten a hell of a lot better at that. More forgiving. Rank tracker is good for local searches. Okay. All right, guys, that's it. Sorry about the length of this one, guys. I appreciate everybody that stuck around. See you guys next week. Do have a Build with Bradley meeting tomorrow. So if anybody's in the mastermind, make sure you're there. That